Well, you can't be a patriot.
I don't care about that. I just really don't.
But you can be black and be a patriot.
I don't care about being a patriot, Kyle.
What's wrong with being a patriot?
I don't care one way or the other. I'm saying I don't care. I didn't say anything was wrong with it. I'm just saying I don't care about that.
What black power?
I just care.
What black power?
Do I care about black power?
Yes.
I want to be able to, as a person of color, black person, black woman, and all people of color, I want us to be able to not be judged and discriminated against and mistreated just because we are black or brown. That's it. That's what I want. I don't care what kind of title you put on it. I want to be treated fairly. Now, if I'm a funky, acting black woman, then I should be treated accordingly. But if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, being kind to people, working hard, you should not want to take something away from me and mistreat me just because I'm black.
See, I'm going to agree with that. You should not take something away from you because you're black. And I think that goes for anybody. Anybody that's successful, anybody that does good should get that respect because they're successful, they've done something good. But the fact that you're a black person means that you had to work twice as hard to get those same things. If you're the CEO of a company, that's a good thing. If you're a black CEO of a company, that's an even better thing because that means you just had to work that much harder.
Well, but you know what else too? I guess just this week I saw something on Facebook that said, this person is the first black person, and it kind of just to do something, and I can't even remember what it was, and it was significant. I'm not downgrading now, but I just said, when are we going to get to the point? Maybe it was the woman who was the, I think one of the major athletic teams hired her as a coach, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm saying, when are we going to get past this point where we always got to quantify everything with the first black? The first black to do this, the first black to do that. And it just kind of struck me like, damn, we still in 2019 talking about first for blacks. Yes. And I feel like I want to, and I think even I listened to Joe Osteen's podcast a lot. And he made some comment in one of his sermons about a friend of his is the first, like the highest ranking Latino in, I think he's with the Minnesota Timberwolves, highest ranking Latino in a major sports administration. And I'm like, when are we gonna get past having to qualify that somebody is the first black, the first Asian, the first Hispanic? I'm like, we need to just stop that. Just highlight the person for the accolade and not so much about them being a first, right? Well, we gotta stop that.
I gotta say, that's mighty black of you to say that.
Whatever.
That's mighty black of you to say that. Since during your generation, all the firsts happened. And they all happened during your generation. First black president, first black tennis champions, all those firsts happened during our generation. And now we're so used to it that, why can't we just be the first that did it? And why do we have to put the word black in front of it? Because the black stuff is happening now. Now, you're not hearing everybody say the first black basketball player to score so-and-so points, because we do it all the time. So when it gets to the point where we're doing stuff all the time, then they're not going to include it anymore.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, is the merit of the person's accomplishments any less because they're the first black? Why can't they just stand on the accomplishment?
I think it's more because they're the first black.
Well, and I get what you're saying, that we've had to strive harder. I mean, even like I've heard some things with Serena Williams, right? They talk about they drug test her more than anybody, and so I get that, right? So we're definitely under more scrutiny, but it just speaks to what I said from the very beginning about the whole issue of how we're treated, right? We shouldn't, if the playing field was equal, we would be making these strides more, right? So like even when sometimes I look up, so in my work I'm looking up corporations to contact, right? and I look on their list of like top senior management is what they call them, right?
Okay.
And first of all, you see just a sea of white men, right, for most of these companies in top management. So they're making all the decisions. Sea of white men. Then you might see a white woman, but guess what she's doing? What you think she's doing? That's a white woman. What position does she have? Human resources.
Human resources.
You see what I'm saying? So even like she's not doing COO, she's not doing technology, corporate counsel. For the most part, you got a sea of white men running these companies, and then they're gonna have a woman, mostly more than likely a white woman, but she's doing HR.
Right.
She can't be the chief technology officer.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's still a problem.
I have one question since I haven't interjected here. What does this all have to do with the original conversation of patriotism? And I'm going to just hop over to you, Kyle, as we have just a few minutes before we wrap up.
I can't believe you were taping us.
I can't believe you're taping us either. I can't believe we can't talk freely. But that's a whole other thing. In terms of patriotism,
I think he's Russian.
Well, Moscow Drake. In terms of patriotism, Trump doesn't want black people to be patriots in the way that he's patriots. Because when he had all those people saying send her back, and he was saying, you see those people in the audience? They're patriots. Right. He's classifying them as patriots.
Now
patriots comes to mean racists, kind of, not exactly.
Now, doesn't he have some smithering of people of color inside his audience or in the background?
He hasn't been there for the purposes of having a smithering of people there.
And there are ministers that meet with him. Aren't they patriots?
He's co-opting the word patriot to mean something other than what it actually means.
So let me just ask you a question. What does patriotism mean to you?
Patriotism means that I'm doing what I'm doing for my country and my people. And my people that are here have special circumstances. It's like when people said, hey Kyle, do you want to be called colored, black, or African American? I said, well, we know colored stems out of that whole racism thing, so I don't want that one. And we know African American stems out of that whole Cosby thing, where all the blacks are equal to the whites. But when you say black, you mean somebody that grew up in the late 60s, early 70s, and had special circumstances where they couldn't sit at certain lunch counters and they had to fight with Say It Loud and Black and Proud, and they might not have been able to wear locks to work, or they might not have been able to wear an afro to work.
So let me ask you this question though. So black was a term that was designated by someone that was other than?
Other than what?
Well, someone that was Caucasian, someone that was...
black was what we called ourselves.
But why a color versus who you are, your ethnicity?
Because black means more than just a color. Black symbolizes the music we listened to, the style that we had, the clothes that we wore, and the people that we were. Black meant so much more than just a color. And patriotism to black people means so much more than what patriotism means to white people. It means that we have the same love of our country that you had in spite of the way you treated us. That's what patriotism means to black people.
Gotcha. I got to wrap it up here. I have about, less than 40 seconds. Do you have anything that you want to say, Audrey, very quickly?
Sorry.
Well, I thought we started this conversation.
No,
I know, but
I think
you guys did, but I only have so much time to film.
I think my issue is that, again, I don't care about the term patriot one way or the other. I just want to be treated fairly and properly, like I should be, and not treated negatively because I'm black.
All right.
Take it to Tuskegee Airmen. They did a lot for their country in spite of how they were treated.
Gotcha.
Just my thought, man.
All right. Thank you guys for sharing your thoughts.
You mean thank us for talking?
And